Namaste viewers, welcome to BRICS TV Bharat, your trusted platform for in-depth analysis of global geopolitical shifts and their impact on the emerging world order. I am Professor Dr. Srinivasan, and today we critically discuss the evolving US foreign policy under the Trump administration and its far-reaching implications for Russia, Ukraine, NATO and beyond. With policy changes that signal a strategic realignment, the US is reshaping its engagement with global powers, raising questions about regional security, economic stability, and the future of multilateral diplomacy. But that is not all. Tonight, we will also focus on strengthening Indo-US relations following the Trump-Modi meeting of 2025. From trade and defense to education and strategic cooperations, the agreements between these two nations set the course for a new era of collaboration. What do these developments mean for India, the BRICS nations, and the shifting global power dynamics? Join us as we decode these landmark policy shifts, analyze their geopolitical consequences, and bring you experts' insights from around the world. Stay with us. This is BRICS TV Bharat. US policy shifts on Russia and Ukraine. Strategic realignment and global implications. As of February 15, 2025, the Trump administration has implemented policy changes that have reshaped the United States' approach towards Russia, Ukraine, and NATO. These shifts, widely seen as concessions to Moscow, have triggered significant international reactions, particularly regarding the ongoing Ukraine conflict and the broader geopolitical landscape. Direct US-Russia negotiations without European or Ukraine participation. Breaking with traditional diplomatic norms, President Trump engaged in direct conversations with Russian President Vladimir Putin on February 12, 2025, leading to the announcement of immediate bilateral negotiations on the Ukraine crisis. Notably, these discussions exclude key European allies and, more critically, the Ukrainian government. This approach has raised concerns about sidelining European interest and undermining Ukrainian sovereignty, departing from the multilateral approach previously favored by the US and its allies. Policy shifts on Ukraine's NATO aspirations and territorial disputes. Even before formal negotiations began, the administration signaled a policy shift aligning with Russia's long-standing demands. US Secretary of Defense stated that Ukraine's NATO membership was not viable and suggested that restoring Ukraine's pre-2014 borders was unrealistic. These remarks have been widely interpreted as tacit concessions to Russia, effectively endorsing Moscow's stance on Ukraine's geopolitical alignment and territorial claims. Scaling back US military and financial support for Ukraine. The administration has also reoriented US foreign policy by reducing military and financial aid to Ukraine, shifting the expectation of responsibility onto European nations. This recalibration has sparked concerns about Ukraine's long-term stability and the broader security framework of Europe, especially given continued Russian military actions in the region. Possible recognition of Russian-controlled territories. A particularly controversial aspect of the administration's approach is the potential recognition of Russian sovereignty over territories seized since 2014, including Crimea and portions of eastern Ukraine. Such a policy shift would represent a significant departure from previous US positions, raising concerns about the legitimacy of territorial expansions through military aggressions and its implication for international law. Impact on NATO and European security. These policy decisions have far-reaching consequences for NATO, cohesion and European security. The administration risks weakening transatlantic relations and emboldening Russia's assertiveness by sidelining allies in critical negotiations and pulling back US commitments. European leaders have expressed growing alarm, emphasizing the need for a strong, united response to deter future aggression and maintain regional stability. Domestic and international reactions. At home, the administration's policy changes have sparked intense debate over the US global leadership and commitment to democratic allies. Critics argue that unilateral concessions undermine American credibility and embolden authoritarian regimes. Internationally, European and NATO allies have voiced concerns about the erosion of established security frameworks, while Russia has welcomed the shift as a potential victory in advancing its strategic objectives. Strategic motivation behind US policy shifts. The Trump administration's adjustments to foreign policy stem from a broader strategic realignment that prioritizes domestic interests, reassess global commitments, and seeks to recalibrate US engagement in international conflicts. Key motivations include: first, focus on domestic economic growth. The administration has prioritized economic development, advocated protectionist trade policies, and reducing foreign expenditures. Resources can be redirected towards domestic infrastructure and job creation by scaling back involvement in overseas conflict. Second, expectation of European self-reliance. The belief that European nations can handle their regional security challenges has influenced the decisions to reduce US involvement, pushing Europe to take greater responsibility for Ukraine's defense. Third, strategic pivot to Indo-Pacific. With growing geopolitical competition in the Indo-Pacific, particularly concerning China, the administration has redirected diplomatic and military efforts towards counterbalancing Beijing's influence, reducing commitments in Eastern Europe. Divergence from NATO and European allies by engaging in direct negotiations with Russia while excluding European allies and Ukraine. The administration has deviated from traditional multilateral diplomacy. The rationale behind this approach also includes desire for a quick resolution. The administration believes bilateral talks with Russia will facilitate a faster resolution to the conflict, avoiding the complexities of multilateral negotiations. Assertions of US leadership. Direct engagement with Russia is seen as a means of reinforcing US global influence and demonstrating the ability to shape international outcomes independently. Avoiding European bureaucratic constraints. Given the challenges of achieving consensus among the European nations, the US has opted to negotiate terms that align more closely with the strategic interest without being hindered by multiple stakeholders. Rationale for withdrawing support from Ukraine. Several factors has driven the decision to scale back US aid to Ukraine. In this regard, assessment of national security's interest is the first. The administration views the Ukraine conflict as having a limited direct impact on US national security, justifying a shift in focus to other global priorities. Secondly, encouragement of European responsibility. By reducing its role, the US aims to compel European nations to set up their contributions to regional stability and defense. Thirdly, physical considerations. With the high cost associated with prolonged military and financial aid, the administration has opted for more cost-conscious approach, reallocating funds towards domestic priorities. Objective of ending Russia-Ukraine war. The administration's overarching goal is to bring an end to war with specific strategies. That includes diplomatic engagement. Direct negotiations with Russia aim to achieve a settlement that addresses the key concerns of both parties, ensuring a lasting resolution. Global market stability. Prolonged conflict has destabilized global energy and commodity markets. A resolution would restore economic stability, benefiting both international and US interest. Reduction of geopolitical tensions. A peace agreement would mitigate tensions between Russia and Western nations, reducing the likelihood of escalation into broader conflict. Responses from key stakeholders. Now, first of all, the European allies. European leaders have voiced frustration over being sidelined in negotiations, promoting discussions about strengthening independent European defense mechanisms. Secondly, Ukrainian officials fear that negotiation concessions could compromise their sovereignty and territorial integrity. The reduction in US aid has pushed Ukraine to seek alternative security guarantees from European partners. Russia. Moscow has welcomed this shift, viewing the direct negotiation with Washington as a diplomatic victory that could lead to favorable concessions. In conclusion, the Trump administration recalibrated approach to Russia, Ukraine and NATO represents a significant shift in US foreign policies, prioritizing domestic economic interest, reassessing international commitments and seeking to resolve the Ukraine conflict. The administration policies have profound implications for global stability. While these changes aim to advance US strategic goals, they also risk weakening alliances, emboldening adversaries, and altering the international security landscape in ways that may have lasting consequences. Now, strengthening US-India relations. Economic, defense, and geopolitical implications of the Trump-Modi meeting 2025. The meeting between US President Donald Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on February 13, 2025 marked a significant milestone in the evolution of US-India bilateral relations. The discussions led to major agreements covering trade, defense, and education, with a 10-year defense cooperation framework, potential F-35 jet sales, and an ambitious commitment to double bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. India also agreed to lower tariffs on American automobiles and allow US universities to establish campuses within the country. Despite the significance of these developments, the meeting conspicuously avoided discussions on human rights and minority issues, reflecting a broader trend in President Trump's foreign policy of prioritizing strategic and economic interests over value-based diplomacy. While this approach presents opportunities for India's economic growth and military modernization, it also requires careful balancing to ensure sustainable development and self-realizing in critical sectors such as trade, education, and defense. This agreement has substantial economic implications for India, as doubling bilateral trade will enhance market access for Indian exporters, boost foreign direct investment, and create employment opportunities. Reducing tariffs on American cars could increase competition in the Indian market, attract US automakers to establish local production, and expand consumer choices. Allowing US universities to set up campuses in India will elevate educational standards, reduce brain drain, and foster research collaborations. Expanding India's exports will provide greater access to the US market, particularly in IT services, pharmaceuticals, textiles, and automobile components. Indian firms, especially in the IT sector, could expand their footprint in the US, creating more employment opportunities in India. Increased trade ties could attract more US investment into key Indian industries such as manufacturing, infrastructure, and digital technology. This would help India's the Make in India initiative, designed to establish India as a leading global center for manufacturing. Higher trade volume will boost India's labor-intensive sectors, particularly textiles, pharmaceuticals, and IT. Increased FDI inflows will also create jobs in advanced manufacturing, AI, and renewable energy. Establishing US university campuses will improve educational standards by introducing globally competitive curricula reduce brain drain as more students may choose to stay in India instead of studying abroad, and foster collaborations between India and US institutions promoting research and innovation. The deal also has crucial defense implications, particularly in acquiring F-35 stealth fighters, which could significantly enhance India's air superiority. Strengthening India's defense capabilities will improve joint defense research initiatives and technological advancements. This agreement strengthens the US-India strategic partnership in the geopolitical landscape, enhancing India's global standing and reinforcing its roles as a key partner in regional security and economic cooperation. As India modernizes its defense sector, acquiring advanced US military technology strengthens its deterrence capabilities, ensuring national security and stability. Strengthening US-India ties elevates India's position in multilateral platforms such as the Quad and Indo-Pacific alliances, reinforcing regional security and trade cooperation. India's acceptance of this bilateral trade agreement is rooted in economic priorities, the need for military modernization, the strategic necessity of strengthening partnerships, and aspiration for educational advancements. The Modi government places economic expansion and job creation at the forefront of its policies, ensuring that enhanced economic and commercial partnerships with the US align with India's long-term financial ambitions. Strengthening Indo-Pacific cooperation and advancing defense capabilities remain central to India's foreign policy's objectives, ensuring the countries maintain strategic autonomy while fostering mutually beneficial relations with global partners. Access to cutting-edge US military technology supports India's long-term defense modernizations and preparedness vision. Additionally, border tensions and regional security challenges make a stronger alliance with the US strategic necessity. Establishing US universities in India aligns with Modi's new education policy to globalize Indian education and fostering innovation, research, and skill development for future generations. Regarding long-term implications, India benefits from improved defense preparedness, increased foreign investment, and elevated educational standards. The strengthening of US-India relations ensures the expansion of trade, economic collaboration, and strategic cooperation in emerging sectors such as AI, clean energy, and space exploration. The partnership also enhances India's role as a global technology and innovation hub, attracting investment and expertise from international enterprises. The commitment to doubling bilateral trade will further facilitate job creation, improve industrial capabilities, and integrate India into global supply chain. The collaboration in defense technology and joint research initiatives will enhance India's indigenous manufacturing capabilities, contributing to self-reliance in critical sectors. As India continues its economic and technological growth journey, the sustained partnership with the US will play a significant role in fostering innovation, economic prosperity, and national security. The Trump-Modi meeting of 2025 has significantly bolstered US-India relations in defense and trade, offering opportunities for economic growth and strategic advantages while requiring a thoughtful approach to ensure long-term sustainability. India's acceptance of this engagement underscores its pragmatic foreign policy approach, prioritizing national security, economic expansion, and global collaboration. However, ensuring long-term sustainability will require India to balance global partnership while maintaining self-reliance in defense, trade, and technology. Strengthening US-India cooperation will pave the way for enhanced economic growth, technological innovation, and strategic security, ensuring a prosperous future for both nations. As we conclude today's in-depth exploration of US policy shifts on Russia and Ukraine, one thing is clear: the global geopolitical landscape is undergoing significant transformation. The Trump's administration recalibrated approach from direct negotiations with Russia to the scaling back of military support for Ukraine has sparked debates on sovereignty, security, and strategic balance. How these changes will redefine global alignments remains a crucial question. Meanwhile, on the Indo-US front, the recent Trump-Modi agreements signal new opportunities for economic expansion, military modernization, and technological collaboration. While these developments promise growth, they also demand strategic foresight to ensure long-term sustainability and self-reliance for India. At BRICS TV Bharat, we remain committed to bringing you a comprehensive analysis of issues shaping the future of global power structures. Thank you for joining us. Stay informed and engaged, and we will see you next time with more insightful discussions. Until then, Professor Dr. Srinivasan will be signing off. Jai Hind.